Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode. We're going to continue with the site structure. And if you've not watched the previous episode, we are basically setting up a website architecture from scratch. I explain how important this is for any brands and any websites, and also how valuable this is. If you are able to do this, you are able to do site migrations, you are able to be involved in web design, in the process of web design, because having a SEO optimized structure, it's really important. It sets websites up for success in the long run. So in today's episode, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use data to back up to see and kind of guide you on how to, pick a desirable website architecture for the projects for your websites that you are managing. So we have already decided kind of two routes that we're going with. Firstly, it's this route, which is, we have services and then the specific race and religion, and then the actual service itself, or we can just have a more generic one. So for example, services and then just the keywords here, individual keywords here. So there's two routes. And again, if you're not sure what I'm talking about, please go back, watch the first. If you want to watch everything from scratch, which I think you should, because I'm breaking down every single step and explain why and how things are done. But if you just want to know about site structure and site architecture, you can just refer to the previous episode of how we came up with this two site architecture. Okay. So today, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use data to kind of justify which one should we go with, and also do a little bit of keyword research and also show you how I do keyword research as well. So yeah, let's get started. And I'm usually doing things quite, depending on which one is more important and stuff like that. So it's going to be more free flow. And yeah, let's get started. So the first thing that I like to do is just like to take competitors that are doing well. So that's usually the first method. What I want to do is I want to capture all the keywords first, and I want to capture as much relevant keywords as much as possible. And then we can kind of decide based off on the search volume, how big of a search volume there is, and then see whether can we justify with the search volume that we have gathered and see which structure makes more sense for us. So in order to capture all the keywords possibly, there are going to be basically two approaches, which I'm going to use both and I'll explain both. The first one is looking at keywords that the competitors are already ranking for. So essentially what we're going to do is we're going to look at all the competitors, those that are doing well, and even sometimes those that are not doing well, we also want to get all the keywords in, and then that will give us a list of keywords that it's going to be highly relevant, because the keywords that our competitors are ranking for, highly likely they will be relevant to us, since we're kind of like providing the same services. Unless there are some services that we don't provide and our competitors do, then we will do the manual filtering and filter those out. Okay. So in order to find your competitors' keywords, it's actually pretty simple. You will need a tool. You will need an SEO tools. So yeah, there are a lot of SEO tool suggestions out there. If you want a more detailed, like in-depth guide of, specific tools that you can work with based off on your budget, based off on where you're starting out, let me know. I may create a video about that. So yeah, and then what you need to do is just go into Google and type the main keyword that you would like to show up for. Okay. What I like to do is I don't like to look at these sponsored posts because, they are sponsored and it doesn't mean that they are doing well organically. So just want to look at all these organic competitors, right? So what I can do is I can go to competitor analysis, and then I can just basically plug in the website. So we can plug in our website here, and then we can add like a few competitors. So I'm going to do it side by side. It's easier. And it's just pasting in the competitors that are doing well on Google. Okay, so this is kind of interesting. Why? Okay, so they kind of extended the first page. Why is there a sponsored post in the middle of the organic SERPs? Which is weird. I've not seen this before. I think this is new, with Google currently doing so much changes on the SERPs. We are in an exciting era right now, because I think there's not a lot of things that make that kind of like highlights, especially if you're doing SEO right now. We have like updates, some major, some minors, but nothing has been so significant until I think this period of time. because the entire SERPs is changing from Google's perspective. So it's a very interesting place to be at because nobody knows what's going to happen next. And it's a time for you to learn what's going to work based off on, the SERPs, how Google is going to change. That will impact how users will behave. And also at the same time, how users will behave will also impact whether this change will last or this change will be reverted back and things like that. So it's a very interesting period for us to be in, especially if you are a marketer, not just from an SEO perspective, but just overall, because the mechanism of how people are searching or the mechanism of the channel of what people are using, it's going through a significant change. Yeah, so sorry, I digress. Yeah, let's just continue. So yeah, SFS, let's see. And then we can maybe plug in a little bit more. Yeah, we can add a lot of competitors. Okay, so yeah, probably want to add I think this is okay. And then what we want to do is just click on analyze, and let's see. So there's a total of 199 keywords, so 300 keywords, and this is only showing me in top 10. So if I want to cancel this, it's going to show me a lot more keywords. Okay, and some of them may not be relevant. Yeah, like this is not relevant. So what I'm going to do is maybe I don't want top 10, I want in the top 20. Yeah, so this will give me more keywords. Okay, so yeah, as you can see, what we are trying to do is, depending on how big your market is, sometimes when you plug in, obviously the more competitors you put in, the more keywords you will need to filter out, the more keywords you have. But this also depends on the market. So if you're in a very specific market, for example, Singapore is a relatively small market. If we were to do this in a bigger market, say US and UK, you're going to see a lot more keywords. And not to worry, because when you see a lot more keywords, it means to say that there's a lot more opportunities that you can go after, because the kind of like the pond has a lot of fishes, right? So fishes, is that even a word? A lot of fish. So yeah, and then and also it depends on the service that you're offering. So if the service that you're offering is very, very niche as well, chances are you're not going to see a lot of keywords. So in this case, to me, 400 plus keywords is not considered a lot, and this is a decent number that we're working with. So when you're doing an analysis like that, usually what you want to do is you want to find keywords that are relevant. And one way for you to sort it out is to see competitors' keywords that they are ranking for in the top 2 pages. So for example, 1 to 20, right? Because the reason why they are ranking so high up on Google, it's because Google thinks all these keywords are very relevant to their website. And chances are these keywords that they think are relevant is probably relevant to their business. Okay. And the reason why the keywords that, that they are ranking for in, like, let's say in position 99 or 95, for example, are keywords that are not so relevant. And that's why they are ranking so low in the SERPs. And those keywords are very likely going to be keywords that are irrelevant to your business or for this project that I'm working on as well. So hopefully that makes sense for you to kind of decide what keywords are and where you should be looking for the keywords. Okay, so yeah, you can look at top 10, you can look at top 20 or top 50. For me, I'm just going to select top 20 here. And already within the top 20, right, you can see some keywords is not going to be relevant. All these, like what is this, right? And this address jumps to death like this. Hey, these are not going to be relevant. Okay. I think we have a good list to work with. So we have 408. So what we can do is we can export this out. Okay. And then what I like to do is I just like to import, upload, and then drag this over here, append. And then we have all the keywords here. Okay. So one more thing is, funnily enough, those pages or websites that are ranking here, they may not be the best example because we may be missing out. I think it was a glitch because this was a sponsored post earlier, right? Yeah, I think it was a glitch. Oh, no, it was here. Okay, I have no idea what the hell is going on. But anyway, so yeah, what was I saying? What we want to do is we want to make sure that we are utilizing all the keywords from successful competitors. So another way for you to make sure that you are capturing websites from successful competitors is just by going to a keyword like add keyword tool, and then type in again the main keywords you want to rank for. Okay, I like to type in different variations, and then I'll show you why later on. So okay, and then let's click search. Okay, so you can see here there are, yeah, come on man, address. They have been, yeah, this could be another video, but let's continue for now. So funeral service Singapore. So what you want to do, right, is you want to look at maybe some competitors you didn't include it in here that are doing really well. So you can see what I'm trying to look for is I'm trying to look for the websites that are ranking for this keyword that have like a lot of search volume, traffic. So 700 plus. So this one is the highest, right? So we already have this direct funeral in our competitor, right? But what if I'm missing out some competitors that are getting a lot of traffic as well? So what you can do is you can kind of open this up and you want to see their organic competitors for their website, okay? Because this will highly likely show you the competitors for them. And because their website is so high, so the chances of you seeing competitors that have high volume, it's going to be high also, okay? And yeah, so let's take a look here. Common keywords. I want to see traffic here. So if I sort by traffic, okay, and see if there's any that we are missing out. So yeah, it doesn't seem like we're missing out any. So let's say, for example, we have this brand here, and SF. Yeah, we also have this. Yeah, we don't have this. So there's a few. Yeah, but their traffic is very low as well. Yeah, so do we have this? No. Wait, Singapore. Yeah, so we don't have this site and we also don't have this one. So what I can do is I can basically include in this here, right? So I can do this, okay? And I can hit apply. So right now I have 485 keywords. So if I were to include these two in, I'm not sure it's gonna give me a little bit more keywords to work with, okay? This is so that you can add into the list of keywords. Okay, so I'm gonna do that and then I'm gonna export. Okay, so this increases the number of keywords to 500 plus. So a little bit more. And yeah, let me just export this out and then yeah, we can delete this and then import in the new one. Okay, so you have all the keywords now and there's a few things that you can do. I like to just basically trim everything down, freeze the first row. So in this case, when I'm looking at the data, I still can refer to what's the metric I'm looking at. I mean, I can keep this for now, but really I just want to look at the keywords. So I don't need to look at competitors. So you can either delete or hide the column. I like to just delete away. And then this is the URL that their website is ranking for. So this may give me a little bit more context. So I want to keep this for now. Yeah. This column, I don't have to see this. Yeah, so what I can do now, it's basically all the rest of the stuff here, I can hide because I don't need to see this for now. Okay. And all I want is the list of keywords here. Okay. And what I want to do is also do a filter function. So in this case, you can see all these keywords, right? Sorted by volume. And there's a total of, 552 keywords. Okay. And then this gives you an idea of, okay, so what are the keywords that is getting most of the traffic, right? You can see like obituary, this is not going to be relevant. And then we have obviously like the main one, funeral services. And then we have like some keywords here. This is those generic keywords that are very too broad, like a single word keyword is probably not going to be the one that we are ranking for. Okay. And one more thing is if you see here, yeah, they're not able to sort the number of words. Yeah. So I think I can do it here. Let's go to history, do this, and then word count. Right. So what you can do, right, is you can also put in the keywords here. Where is it? You can put in all the keywords in here and then filter out by the number of words that they have. Okay. So let me just do this first. So there's 500 plus keywords. Yeah, that's first. Now, there's a few ways that you can do things from here. And I'm just listing down some of the ways that I have done this. So you can now go through and filter out which keywords is not relevant to the business, right? Because there are already a few. For example, like this addresses, okay? You can slowly start to delete these, right? You can delete this, for example, and then you can go through this list now. And then what you want to do is, again, you just want to do your own keyword research to make sure that you are capturing keywords that maybe your competitors are not capturing, right? So you don't want to just do this method only because now we are basically capturing all the keywords that the competitors are ranking for. But what if the competitors are missing out some keywords that we could go after? So the next step you want to do is kind of like do your own keyword research based off around like your services and what you want the services to rank for, and also like kind of like informational content that is revolving around your business, and then do the filtering for those keywords. So you can do that, or what I'm going to do is I'm going to not filter these keywords first. I'm going to do the keyword research for, like I mentioned, the second method, and then we're going to clean all these keywords all together at one go. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to do that. So in order for us to do that, there's a few things. So this is, I guess, another keyword research method, right? So you want to list down the main keywords of your services. So in this case, like funeral services, we are going to definitely have this. This will likely be in the keywords list already, but it's okay because we can remove all the duplicates later on and only leave us with keywords that are unique, right? So they are not replicated. Okay. So there are a few ways that you can go about this actually, depending on how big your website and service is. So one way is you can just basically list down everything here. Okay. So imagine all your core services, you can just list all of them down here. I'm just going to remove the in because generally people don't type in because they are lazy. So they will just type in like the market itself. You can list out all the services you have, all the ideas that you can think about, and then put them into Ahrefs and see what Ahrefs gives you. That's the first method. The second method is you can look at it, I would say, what do I call it? You can look at it as their own individual pipeline. So what do I mean? If you just want to look at Hindu base, right? You can go down this rabbit hole, not rabbit route. Yeah, rabbit hole of just basically everything to do with the Hindu religion, right? So like Hindu funeral, Singapore, Hindu funeral, and then like Cascade Hindu, right? And then all this is just basically revolving around Hindu, the Hindu or your vertical, right? Depending on again what your software is or what your services is, how it's separated out. And then do this and repeat this for all the kind of services and the kind of software benefits or features you have, right? And yeah, and then expand these individual services up. Or you can just simply do what I do now, because I know that for this specific brand, unless I see, because the market is so small, so I already know that the keyword volume is not going to be a lot. So unless like you see there's a reason for me to expand this individually, then I'm going to do that. But chances are I'm not going to find a lot. But again, depends on your niche. Sometimes you may find like in a bigger niche, for you to go down the rabbit hole method is going to be easier and more fruitful because there's a lot of keywords that revolves around that single vertical. So yeah, I am going to do all of this. Okay, just kind of want to include my main services in here. And then, okay, so the first one is Hindu, so I'm going to remove this. And also at the same time, I want to in. Okay, so I'm just typing in different variations. Yeah. And then what else? So we also have race, right? Yeah. So we have the different race. Okay. And then I also want the different versions. So without, and then okay, this is just making sure that I have different variations in there. And again, I'm just trying to feed the tool as much information as I can. So we have this version, and this is the last one I show you. So we have all these versions. So let's see, cremation. Yeah, we're just going to work with this first and see what we find. So I can close this up now. I can close this up now until we need it later on. Okay, and then what you want to do, just go in and look for all these keywords. And let's see what we find. Yeah, so there's 30 keywords. So you can see like we can only find like 30 main keywords, not a lot here. One thing that you can do is you can kind of add all this into a list. So I'm going to add all this into a list for now. Those keywords that are less than, I guess 30 will be the cutoff. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, okay. The reason why like there shouldn't be a maximum or a minimum key search volume that you should look at, it's because it really depends on the niche and the market, right? And I think all these thoughts are really important because most of the time, especially when I first started out doing SEO, right, there's always like benchmarks that you hear, like, oh, you should only be looking at search volume that is higher than 30, right? And then what you do is, okay, anything that's below, you kind of ignore, which is good for a starting point. But along the way, what I realized is the benchmarks is very different because again, when you look at the service, when you look at the market that you're in, how niche the service is, how niche the market is. Sometimes a search volume that it's 0 to 10, for example, it could be keywords that you want to go after because there's not a big selection to choose from, right? And in this case, for example, you can see, let's say we have this, right? We have Malay funeral, right? This has 90. But other than this keyword for Malay, right? We don't have any Malay already. Like this is Muslim, this is the religion, right? But there's another keyword here, Malay funeral Singapore. Okay, this has search volume of 20. Now, if we were to not choose this keyword, okay, what happens is if we were to follow the minimum 30 search volume and ignore the rest of the keywords, then we will ignore this keyword out. But if we take a look at this keyword, yes, the search volume is 20, so it's not that high. But if you look at the intent, right, people are typing in Malay funeral and Singapore. So this is a very, very commercial, like bottom of the funnel keyword, because they are typing in for the actual service plus the location of the service they want it. So it's very bottom of the funnel. And if you look at the cost per click, so there are people bidding for this specific keyword. Okay. So in this case, if we were to follow again, I guess the point is every project depends on the project, right? So there's no like cut off of like 30 or 20. You have to use some of your sense to see whether does it make sense, does it not, and things like that. And you never be right? We will never be right. The software is just a indication, a guiding compass for us to make the best choice possible, but we would never make the perfect choice. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit of, I digress again. So I'm going to select all this, even though it is 20, because like, why not? Like for this, it doesn't have the cost per click, but I've already selected the one above. Let me just select the one below. And yeah, the rest I'm not going to look at because the keywords are not doesn't have a lot of search volume. So I'm going to add all this into a keyword list. I'm going to call it, okay. So the reason why I'm adding all this into keyword list because then we can extract out together. Okay. So now what I want to do is I probably want to go down the rabbit hole because I didn't find a lot of keywords. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to use the main keywords, okay, and explore all of them. Yeah, so I'm really finding like a few. So this is an indication that I mentioned earlier on. Sometimes when you do the rabbit hole method, right, where you're looking at just one vertical, because of the market and service you're in, you may not find a lot. But you can see here, for example, it's quite a decent number of keywords that is around our services. So this package, services, packages, funeral ceremony, can Christian attend? Like all these are very, very important keywords that we want to have. Okay. Yeah. Taoist versus Buddhist. So I'm noticing like a few informational based content. This is informational based. This is informational based. These two are informational based. This is informational based as well. Yeah. So yeah, we definitely want to explore down this route. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to add all of these keywords. And yeah, even though the search volume is 10, yeah, I'm just going to include all this in because when we are building out the website, right, obviously like having all these keywords doesn't mean that we're going to be creating all the pages. Eventually we want to because then we will build out such a resources for our brand, even though the search volume is 10. But if we were to build all these pages out, whether if it's content, informational content, or just a service page, we are building so much topical, or whatever the word is called, authority that Google identifies our website with the main keyword that we are trying to target. So if we are offering Buddhist funeral services, and we talk about like the Buddhist funeral attire, the process, Buddhist versus Taoist funeral, and all this, right, it's going to give us a lot more association with the main keyword that we are trying to rank for because our website has a lot of these relevant content. Right, so we eventually want to build this out. We don't have to do it all together at once, unless you have like major resources. You have like a big content team that you're either working with or outsourcing to. You have somebody like if you're going to be producing like 20 pieces of content per week, if you're at that level, then yes, you can launch all of this at once. But yeah, so I'm going to add all this into keyword. So now that I know this route, right, I found a lot of keywords here. I can also go to related terms and see, okay, all these are other brands. Okay, so this is another one that I want to add to. Yeah. So again, I'm adding it, but I'm trying to expand out because now I was revolving around this keyword, right? Buddhist. seems like Buddhism is also one potential keyword that I can go after. So I add all this in first, and then again, go through the same method. Yeah, Chinese tradition. Okay, so this is not Buddhist, but we do find some keywords that it's relatable. And usually when you go to search suggestions, it's going to open up too wide, usually. Okay, but let's see what we have here. Yeah, Buddhist temple, we don't need this. Wait, is this? Okay, these two we definitely want. And you just, again, just picking out keywords that are important. So you can see here, there's a lot of Chinese terms here now. If you're doing this for different languages, right, then obviously you need to know the language. But for me, if you're doing multiple languages, like if you're doing keywords for different countries, that means your website needs to be at a place where there's a Chinese version of the site. For example, if you see a lot of Spanish keywords and the Spanish keywords are making up for a lot of your potential traffic, then you want to set your website up to have the Spanish version of the site. So in this case, I know even if we were to redesign the website, I'm not going to do a multi-language website for this project because it's going to take way too much resources. Because imagine the things that we are doing now, we're going to do this for like each individual website needs to have its own architecture, if that makes sense, right? So I'm not going to do that. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to ignore all the Chinese keywords. However, if you are doing this for a project that requires that scope, right, then you either got to be charging more, or you need to let them know that, you know, doing keyword research for a single country, a single market, and a single language, every time when there's a second language, that is essentially kind of like a different project already. Because the way of how users search for, how users behave when they are searching in a different language, the things that you need to analyze is going to be different from the English language, because the users' behavior, they behave differently. And the SERPs will show you that. And that's why like it's kind of like an additional, like you're kind of like doing everything for a new website. So every single time there is a additional market or an additional language, right? It's going to be times that amount of work. So imagine whatever I'm doing this now, this is like considered one layer of work. If they were to add in one more language, say Chinese, that's considered 2 layers. If they want to target Malaysia as well, that's considered 3 layers. If they want to target Malaysia Chinese, that's considered 4 layers, right? So the more countries, the more markets you're managing, the more resources you require, the more time you need. Because like I mentioned, it doesn't mean that whatever that we are doing, we can just simply translate that into Spanish, because we can do that, but that's a very lazy way to do it. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So in this case, I already know that I'm not going to create a multilingual site I'm already not going to be creating a multilingual site. So I'm going to just be ignoring the Chinese keywords for now. Okay, so yeah, let's continue, shall we? So we have this cultural center, not really keywords that we're trying to target. How much real money to give? This is a informational based content. I do want this. And then the rest are like 10. Okay, so let's continue to fill up our keywords list. Okay, and then I just want to refresh to make sure that, yeah. So up, all these, Chinese based keywords that we definitely can go after. So you can already see that we are adding in a lot of these keywords. These keywords may, like, initially we may already have it here, but it's okay, because again, when you work on a project, right, the more you are analyzing the project, the more you kind of like become an expert, not with the service, but with the demand. Because you are noticing like now I didn't work on a funeral project before, so this is my first time. But I already understand that, there's a Chinese group of customers that are looking for meanings, or, like there is a group of people like that, and they are looking for like all these informational content, right? Prior to this, I didn't have any idea. And there may be like Hindu traditions around death, around funeral as well. And they are also going to be probably like, but the Malay version also have like, their own traditions and things they search for. So there are a group of people like that. Yeah. And so the more you research, the more you kind of like an expert in the niche. Definitely not a service, because I've never provided this service before, but you're definitely more, you're more aware of the niche. So yeah, I'm going to add all this in, and then again, I can go to search suggestions and see whether if there's anything I'm missing out. So yeah, this 500 plus keywords. Yeah, this is, I'm just scanning, right, to see if there's anything that I'm missing out, but I don't think so. So I think we're probably done here for the Buddhist side of things. Okay, we have one Taoism here, but since I'm here, I might as well just, capture that first. Add to funeral. Okay. So yeah, so based off on this, right, I'm kind of leaning towards this architecture for the resources, like this architecture for the resources. Okay, because I'm seeing a lot of informational content that is very, very race or religion specific. So like just now we see like Buddhism, or here can be Chinese, and then this can be the main keyword. Yeah. So I'm seeing benefits for us to go via this route for the services, for the resources. For the services, let me just go in and take a look. And again, I'm doing everything on the fly here. There's no right or wrong way. It's basically like kind of like a big playground for you to see what you find. So what I can do is Singapore Chinese cast. Okay, and then what else can we find here? Chinese coffin, and then we have this version, and we're gonna have this version. Okay. And then now I just want to try and see whether should we even bother with, should we kind of like decide on the services, should we want to go this or this, right? So I'm going to look for the specific religion to see whether if people would just search for this. Yeah. And then what I want to do is now I can just basically copy all of this and replace the service. So for example, cremation, right? Do people actually search for, like, are people actually that specific? My guess is not, but we'll see. My guess is not. Okay. If somebody searches for this, it's going to be quite surprising. Yep. Okay. And then what else? Embalming is one more service, right? So we can basically copy all of this down, the different variations, and then let's do for embalming. Okay, and then let's see what we find. My guess is we're not going to find a lot. Yeah, so 24 keywords, Chinese cremation, okay. Chinese cremation, okay. Yeah, so you can see that I'm steering towards, for services, I'm steering towards this, okay? Because like, there is no benefit if I were to use this site architecture for the services side, because people are not searching specifically for like race and then the service, right? Especially for those micro services. Yeah. And if you want to take a more cautious approach, you can change all of the keywords you see earlier on, the list of keywords that we found, that we analyzed. We can kind of copy and then paste all this, and then you can just change this to, let's say, the next biggest religion in this case, right? But in your case, it can be the next biggest vertical. Okay. Let me just change all this. Oh, okay. So I got the wrong one. Never mind. Okay. So the keywords I pasted in was a little bit wrong, but it's okay. Let's just do it for the Hindu vertical. See what I find. I don't think we're going to find much stuff here. So yeah, this should be, wait, I already have. Okay. What is going on? One casket of it. 1, 2. Okay, I am so lost here. Yeah, and this is what happens. This is actually what happens when you're doing like these kind of keyword research. So I want to look for casket, coffin. Okay, never mind. Yep. So yeah, I have changed all of that. So now it's a lot easier to see. Casket, coffin, cremation, and embalming. I just add in the different variations and the different locale. Again, I don't think I'm gonna find anything here. Yeah, the only one, it's probably like casket. Yeah, but even so, it's not giving me that much of a reason. And this may be a brand. Yeah. I'm not seeing any exciting stuff here. Yeah. So for the services, I think I'm just going to go the generic route. I think I'm going to go this route. Yeah. And then for the different resources, I think I may go this route because I'm seeing a lot more. Yeah. Okay, never mind. Let me close this, and then let me go and see, like, go and explore a little bit more. So for Christian, let's see all the matching terms for Christian. So it's 85. So Christian funeral package. Yeah, so you can see my conclusion, right? It's that actually it may not be my conclusion, but what I've noticed, right? What I've noticed is there are a few things. So this is kind of like where I keep my notes. So there are a few things. The main service is actually the one that captures a lot more, most of the traffic. Service and packages. Okay, these two, right? The variation, the main terms that our customers are looking for are services and packages. So these are the main tools. However, when I look at like the different smaller services, let's say cremation, for example, it's not a lot. The next thing will probably be like casket or coffin. Okay, but having service and having package, I think these two can be the same page. Okay, because let's take a look. Singapore Christian funeral services, Christian funeral packages, right? I think they can belong to the same page. So we don't need to have this and then have have like funeral packages or funeral, like this is sufficient. Because if we do rank for, let's say, Hindu funeral, we'll be able to rank for Hindu funeral packages as well, because they kind of are the same thing, right? And then for casket and coffin, again, it's not that much of a search volume that I want to go to this route. We can have it like, let's say if it's Hindu casket, right? Or we can put like Hindu casket, for example. And this is fine. Like we don't have to expand to this extent because we never find like cremation. There's no search volume for cremation. There's no search volume for embalming, for example. Like we don't have to expand until this extent, I don't think. So I'm leaning towards this structure for services. Yeah. So you can see like dress code and then packages and services, they are all the same keywords. Yeah. Okay. And then let me expand out a little bit more. Okay, so Christian, right? Now we are at Christian. So I do want to see whether dress code and stuff like that. Okay, do Christian do embalming? Okay, let's do cremation. Let's do casket. I don't think they use coffin, right? Yeah. I think coffin is more Chinese based. And I learned something new again. I think. I don't know. Yeah, so they don't. Like, yep. So you can see like there's no reason for me to kind of go the other route. And I may be missing out something, but based off on the data that I have analyzed and see, I don't think we need to go this route. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards this for services. Yeah. And then for resources, I think we may have to go the separation out by different races and religion, because I'm seeing a lot of keywords, right, that it's religion based, like condolence monthly Christian, right? So you can see like even this has 70 search volume, more than some of the services, more than some of the keywords that I'm already seeing. So yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go this route and this route, okay? And yeah, hopefully that will give you an idea of how to, actually decide your main, your keywords and stuff like that. So yeah, so I've already more or less decided that this is the structure I'm going to go with and this is the structure I'm going to go with, okay? Because of all the keywords I'm noticing, the behavior of the keywords I'm noticing. And if you see, right, I'm not looking at like, I'm not going through one keyword by one keyword, all right? Because you don't have to, because generally what you're trying to do is you're trying to look for patterns and you're trying to look for common things that keep appearing, okay? So like you can see Christian, there's no search volume. I did the same for Chinese and Buddhism. There's also no like search volume for this. And so we don't have to do it for like, the rest, like Taoist, Indian and stuff like that, probably because we have already did the research for the two biggest verticals, and if those two don't have it, chances are the smaller verticals wouldn't have search volume as well, if that makes sense. Now, what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to end it here and kind of have a rough idea that we're going to go with this. In the next video, what I'm going to do is all these keywords that I found, I'm going to be continuing this section here, but not just for Christian, but I'm going to expand out like the Buddhist. We already expand out Buddhist, but like the rest of the stuff here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to export all those keywords out and then consolidate all of them here. And in the end, we'll be left with a massive list of keywords, which is not going to be filtered. And then we'll try to filter those. And then what we have essentially done, it's basically keyword research for the site structure and also have a list of keywords ready for us to produce when we are, going to be writing content or producing content. So that's for the next step, which I want to include in here, because if not, I will, because I'm recording this on different days. I'll need to remember. Expand out other races, religion, keywords, import and remove duplicate keywords, filter out irrelevant keywords. Okay, so this is the next thing that I'm going to do. Okay, so hopefully you learned something. As you can see here, we are making some progress already and getting to understand more about the market and the project that we're working on. So yeah, with that being said, that's all. So yeah, if you find like this kind of videos helpful, please help me to click the like button to favor the video, because we're trying to grow the channel. And if you think this is helpful for somebody, just feel free to share this with them. And also, if you've watched until this far, like you are like 40 plus minutes, 50 plus minutes in, like you're into the bro senses, you're in way too deep, just hit the subscribe button. Like if you watch a video for 45 minutes, I'm not telling you what to do, but 40, 45 minutes in, you're still watching, the subscribe button you're going to watch the next video for like 30 to 40 plus minutes as well. Might as well. Might as well, right? So yeah, hopefully you like this video. Let me know in the comment section if there's anything I missed out, anything that you're not sure of. Just let me know. And yeah, that's all. Till the next episode. Cheers.